Top 7 Bougainville Heroes of all times. In 1988 to 1998, Bougainville had gone to 10 years of bloody brutal civil war, with the government of Papua New Guinea and Bougainville Copper Limited or BCL, over the land royalty issue and natural resources exploitation out of Panguna mine. Emerged from the war, were the top 7 heroes Bougainville had ever seen on the island before. The names of these great conquerors should be written on the stone of the Bougainville political history to make sure their names are not forgotten in the future. Here are their names. Number 7. Chris Huma. Chris Huma is from Kihita district in central Bougainville. Just like many Bougainville youths, he took up arms as he was unhappy about how his family and relatives were treated by the Papua New Guinea Defence Force or PNGDF. When he joined the Bougainville Revolution Army or BRA, he was only an ordinary soldier. However, as the war continues, his tremendous fighting skills made him popular warlord on the island of Bougainville. He became the leader of the BRA gang of his area and fought bravely till the end of the war. Today he remains one of the influential person on the island of Bougainville. His respect and honor is still continues to this date. Number 6. Damian Koike. Damian Koike is from Bin district of South Bougainville. He joined the BRA at his youth and fought the guerrilla war on his island boldly till the end of the war. Just like Chris Huma, because of his fighting skills, he became the leader of the BRA gang of his area. Today he lives on bravely as how he had fought during the war. After the war he became well-respected warlord of his area. He is now a leader of his Mikamui gang, around his isolated community, and he is still taking control of vast area of his nearby communities. Number 5. Tari. Tari is also from Bin district in Bougainville. He was nurtured and molded by the war to be a warlord. He was a fighter who could not be easily defeated on the pace of his dying BRA comrades. He was truly a warrior who fought till the end of the war. He was best known for the BRA Kangwa operation, which had left several PNGDF to be captives on the hands of the BRA. He was the man led this operation. Today he became the member of the ex-combatant seat of South Bougainville in the Bougainville House of Representatives. Number 4. Sam Kauona. Sam Kauona was a PNGDF personnel when the war on Bougainville broke out. He and his platoon were deployed on Bougainville Island to massacre and dismantle the BRA on the island. Upon his arrival on the island, he found himself in the turmoil of killing his own people. When he realized what he was about to commit would be a total unethical to his society, he ran away in the night carrying all his weapons and ammunition from the PNGDF camp to his isolated community in central Bougainville. He turned back on PNGDF. He joined the BRA and trained them to be the skillful fighters. He fought bravely against PNGDF. As time goes, he became the young representative of BRA on the island of Bougainville. During his term, he had put the PNG government on test for several occasions. He was invited several times by then Prime Minister Sir Julius Chan amidst the war, to negotiate peace on the island of Bougainville. Today he became one of the well-respected influential person on the island of Bougainville. And his name will never be forgotten, as a figure in restoring the peace on the island of Bougainville, after the 10 years of brutal war. Number 3. Late Paul Boby. Late Paul Boby was a young intelligent, who was studying at an institution when the war on Bougainville Island broke out. He is from Bin district of South Bougainville. Being a patriotic young individual, he had found no meaning of his studies and life on the pace of his dying friends, families, and relatives back on his island. He decided to withdraw from the studies and return back to his island. Only with one goal, to fight for the freedom and justice of his people. He joined the Bougainville guerrilla soldiers and fought endlessly, crushing down all the enemies that would come along their way. In the later years, his intelligence and warrior-like figure have quickly made him popular warlord on the island of Bougainville. He was truly a visionary warrior that could hardly back down on anything. Unfortunately he was never live up to this date, to see the outcome of what he had fought for. He was assassinated after the war by the members of BRA, as he was falsely suspected on making alliance with the PNGDF. Although his absence to this date, with due dignity may his spirit and legacy lives on. Number 2. Ismael Turoima. Ismael Turoima was the fearless beast and the warrior Bougainville, PNG, and the rest of the Pacific had ever seen in their history before. He was a straight soldier born to be a fighter, and hero of all times. Without military education and skills, he was no match to the well-trained military personnels. He was naturally talented to be a commando. He was told to have conducted craziest military operations that nobody can ever believe he did. In all the BRA operations he was always the front man to lead all the battles against the foes in the land and on the sea, and always the last person to withdraw from the combat until all the enemies would be defeated. He was entirely controlling the island of Bougainville through his bravery, and although he is from Nagovis to Kihita area, he was invited on whole parts of Bougainville to fight the wars on everyone's behalf. He was the top listed and the most wanted warlord PNGDF had ever wanted to hold him in custody. Some had even believed that the defeat of Ismael Turoima would have been the end of the BRA force. He was the true powerhouse of the Bougainville guerrilla warlords. Although the war had ceased, his legendary figure lives on. He is the biggest single advocator for restoration of Bougainville law and order and the good governance on the island of Bougainville. On 23 September 2020, Ismael Turoima was declared the president of the Bougainville Island for the next 5 years from 2020 to 2025. Number 1. Late Francis Ona. This is the man everybody are talking about. Francis Ona was the elder of the Panguna landowners. He was the top listed and the most wanted person on the record of the PNG government and the defense force during the war on Bougainville. He was the number one enemy of PNG during the war. Although he had passed away after the war, his legacy lives on. He was the top mastermind elder of the people of Bougainville, who had designed and planned the war on the island of Bougainville, amidst PNG government and Bougainville Copper Limited malice to the people of Bougainville. He was the leader of the Bougainville rebels, who had started the war on the island when he was rejected by the Bougainville Copper Limited, as he demanded billions of US dollar compensation on behalf of the people of Bougainville to all their environmental destructions and social problems that had escalated as a result of Bougainville Copper Mine. The Bougainville Copper Limited have offered some millions of money to him personally, but he was refused to take the offer, as he realized what he was about to accept would be the betrayal to all his people on the island and would not solve the problem he was raising. He ordered his men to riot against the BCL and damage several other mining facilities on the mining site. When the riot got out of control on the island, PNG government deployed the security forces on the island to protect the mining installation and restore the normalcy. However, this only fueled up the locals' frustration towards the BCL and the PNG government. Instead, for the people of Bougainville to bow down on these two giants, they took up arms and attack. Although Francis Ona had started the war, he had never fought. He was well protected by his soldiers in the hideout that nobody had ever known. After the Bougainville peace agreement in 2001, he was released and freed to reunite with his society and live an ordinary life. Francis Ona was a true leader that had outstandingly spoken for the rights of the people of Bougainville, and had no way in Bougainville Revolution history. He had betrayed the people of Bougainville. He was the man whom his name will never be erased on the history of Bougainville Island. He may be gone, but his principles are vibrant today to the people of Bougainville. His famous quote, "The duty of a man is to protect his land," is still viable in the hearts of many Bougainvillians today. With pride and dignity, we pledge may their respect and honor lives on forever.